And now, here's Dialogue, a podcast with Gene Richard from Kbze 105.9 FM.
Hello and welcome back to Dialogue. No, it's not Gene Richard. This is Howard Caste. I'm the owner of Kbze 105.9 FM. I'm really excited to be helping Gene get this program started again. For now, it's just going to be a podcast on YouTube. I'm so excited. Today, I'm here with Miss Rebecca Robichaux, who is the other candidate for a Lafourche Parish judge seat, and she's going to explain what that seat number is. I'm also going to ask her to explain another judge's seat that encompasses Lafourche Parish, but there's also more parishes in addition to Lafourche, and that way she can let voters know exactly what you're voting for when considering a judge on November 8th. So without any further ado, here is Miss Rebecca Robichaux.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much.
Tell us, first of all, what seat are you running for, and then tell us what the other seat is that voters will see on the ballot.
I'm running for Judge LeBlanc's seat, who is a retiring judge, not against Judge Miller, not with Tanner McGee. It is Heather and I running for Division A here in Lafourche Parish, where all the people of Lafourche Parish vote for this race. We're not in competition with each other.
All right. So before we get into what the actual seat is going to be about, tell us a little bit, especially for folks watching who maybe don't know you, who is Rebecca Robichaux? And I'm going to give you the mic.
Who is Rebecca Robichaux? I'm a native here of Lafourche Parish, 64 years, and I've been practicing attorney in Racine, Louisiana for 40 years. Same office, same building, same location. I have raised on Waverly Road, up north of Thibodaux for 5 years. Grew up in the St. Charles community where I attended elementary school and junior high. And then my father was a manager of Halton Marine Shipyard, and he moved us to Lockport, where I spent my high school years and my college years. And then I married the love of my life in 1982, where we settled in Raceland, had our family, and been there ever since.
All right. So, tell us a little bit about your experience as an attorney.
Started in solo practitioner because competition has been always a factor in my life. I've been in competition with 4-H, with baseball. I was on the first baseball and basketball team in Central Lafourche High School. 1976 was the first year women's sports became a thing. And ever since then, I decided when I went to law school, I wasn't going to pair up in anybody's office. So I went out on my own, journeying solo for the last 40 years. I've represented so many people from the family law is where I think most people think I specialize in, representing children of custody cases, parents divorcing, obviously, large community property settlements. And over the years, I'm a victim of a divorced family. My parents divorced in college. You learn the ins and outs of what it means to be saddened with the separation of parents, how you go about living your life when you don't have both in the same home. And then more importantly for the parents is the separation of finances, which always creates a hardship. You know, you can't split the baby. It's trouble fighting to split the money. And those cases, I've had some very emotional, all of them are, but some really emotional cases where some custody cases have gone 14 days. And in the end, I've been successful in representing a dad that the judge put custody with him and not the mother. Many mothers I've represented over the years. So it's been a practice of, if you paid me, I did my best, competed with the other attorneys and tried to represent my clients within what the law is. I've also done adoptions, successions. I've handled many personal injury cases. Not known as that because early on, I had my first jury trial experience, and that didn't go so well. So as time went on, we learned about mediators and mediation. I learned the value of that really young, because if you don't have an opponent on the opposite side, or the jury didn't find for you, then you learn how to get your client the best representation. And over the years, I have gotten in excess of $10 million in settlements for clients. And if you go look them up in the clerk of courts, you're not going to see them because they were all settled with mediation and settlements that clients took before a jury trial or a trial by judge. I've also handled having a real estate license. My husband, before he died, we had Sugarland Real Estate, and he was the broker and I was the real estate agent. So I've done a number of years of works forming corporations, partnerships, and representing people that had business issues in their businesses or creating, forming, dissolving businesses. In estate planning, I've also represented many people with successions, having to put heirs in possession and advising people on estate planning, what to do before it's too late in preparing for maybe nursing home life or the value of written wills as compared to just letting the law take the estate as it is dictated by the law. So yes, I've had a very general practice. I've also did some criminal practice representing DWI clients, assault and battery, protective orders, those kind of things. And my experience of 40 years, although it's more in a general civil practice and not a criminal, there are sitting judges that do not have any criminal background. They were not prosecutors from a district attorney's office. And there's retired judges with the same, came into the office not having any experience whatsoever. So that's a challenge for me. I have no issue in applying the law. I've been a victim of the criminal side of the law, so I know firsthand victims' rights as well as applying the law. And in this journey, I found it very interesting. People would ask me, do you intend to apply the law? And I kind of looked at them funny thinking, why would you ask me that question? And in fact, the chamber asked a question about applying the law outside the law. And if the law is written that a criminal is going to get 5 to 10 years and you have that range to select what time they're going to be given, then I'm going to apply that law. I'm not going to go outside it. I'm not going to create a new area, and I think that's what the people want, somebody that's going to apply the law as it's written.
I find it interesting that you've got an incredible background on representing people from all walks of life and in different situations. So that's going to make me ask you a two-part question. Why do you want to be a judge? Okay, is part of the question, or the beginning of the question. And the second thing is, what do you think it takes to be a good judge?
Why I want to be a judge, that has been a life journey. Back in 10th grade, my English teacher asked me to write, well, the class assignment was, write what you'd like to be in life. And so Perry Mason, and maybe many people don't know who Perry Mason is, but Perry Mason was my go-to every night at 10:30, watching his show, Retiring for Bed. So when that book report had to be written, I said I wanted to be a lawyer. And that's the personality I have. When I say something, I capitalize on it. And so had no one in my family in the law, no lawyers whatsoever, and I chose that path. I went to Nicholls State University, graduated 3 years, having a 4-year degree in Bachelor of Science. That means I went to Summers and worked hard. And then I graduated from law school. In that journey, in that process, I was chosen as outstanding 4-H person for short course in Washington, D.C. That was a journey of learning the whole city of Washington and how its effect on everyday life and the legal community. When I came home from that journey, I worked for Congressman Billy Tozan and also L.G. LaPlante as their page in Baton Rouge. So it was almost a no-brainer. Once I made up my mind, I enrolled and applied for law school at Southern University. That was a different life experience for me, too. I learned firsthand what being a minority was all about, and I'm proud to say I'm a graduate of Southern University. I was chosen as a female, and being white was very minority, and they asked if they accepted me, would I graduate from there. I made that promise, and 3 years later, I'm a proud graduate of Southern University. I think second part of the question was?
The second part of the question is, what do you think makes a good judge?
So, and I've been asked that Some people have said, what's your qualifications? And are you not qualified? And I've been stumped with that. How could 40 years not be qualified? So for the voters, so you know what the qualifications are, it's as I just stated, you have to have a 4-year college degree, and then you go on to law school. I have been a people person, caring for the people of Lafourche Parish, and I think my efforts and my history show that.
Noticed, Rebecca, we had a conversation before we began today, and she showed me her mailer, and she's got wings with the heart and number 60 in the corner. And at first I thought, well, wow, does she like the Saints, or does she like somebody with Philadelphia, someone having to do with Eagles? Because I see the wings and the number 60, but maybe she's going to tell us what that means.
Yes, Howard. It's a sad and a good journey. The wings represent the loved ones that I lost on that day, April 28, 2001. If you look on the bottom of the Lady Justice, it's very hard to see, but there's 3 roses. And when they died, the red rose represented my son. The yellow rose represented my husband. He left me a dozen roses on the day they left for that trip. And the white rose, but you can't see the colors, but this has always been symbolic for us. The white rose represented my son's friend that died, as he was just an innocent friend traveling with them to go to a cattle show. So I wanted to incorporate that with the Madam Justice, that I would be a judge, fair to everyone, and impartial. And I firmly believe in that statue. I have a 4-foot bronze statue in my home. So back to the number 60. My husband, when he played football for Holy Savior, was number 60. And when Holy Savior School closed, he graduated from Central Lafourche, and he was assigned number 60. So 60 was a proud number for us. My son that died, Jamie Jr., was a junior at E.D. White, and he asked E.D. White if he could have 60 as his number, and they honored that. And so therefore the 60 was a very important number in our family. My daughter was only 2 at the time my husband died, and when you look at all her pieces of jewelry, her rings, her charms, her necklaces, 60 is engraved on that number. So the day that I was assigned number 60 and assigned, I didn't ask for that number. I thought that was a God sign that my loved ones would be with me on this journey. I cried at the courthouse steps on the day I learned that number and said, we can win or lose the race. I've always won in my heart, knowing that they're with me on this journey. So that's the reason we put the angel wings and the heart, and of course the number 60 in the, could have been a broken heart, but I think this is a happy journey for us at this stage of my life.
Before we go, I want to ask you one question. What does faith mean to you?
Minute by minute. Because many people told me that when they died, only faith was going to carry me through it. I've been a practicing Catholic all my life, 40 years, Eucharistic minister at St. Hilary. And so this journey couldn't be possible today if each day I didn't pray, and I do, and start my prayers each day asking God to give me the strength and the faith to carry on. And I understand first-handedly what single parent means. I didn't think I'd have a 2-generation family and have a 2-year-old and be a single parent. And going through this journey alone, at age 40, we decided to have a child. I didn't think at 42 I would be raising her for the rest of my life alone. And so every day after the accident, it was a minute by minute until it got to a day that you could cope, and maybe a couple of years to cope. And so she graduated this past May. And so when this election came about, I said, my family came first. I've done my job, so maybe it's time for me to have a promotion and go from attorney to judge and serve all the people of Lafourche and not just the clients that I've been representing for 40 years.
All right. So as Jean said earlier, November 8th is election day. Please go vote. We don't care who you vote for. We just need you to go and vote. It's very, very important. And once again, we thank you for coming along with us on the journey of dialogue. We're glad you tuned in today, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Well, hey, everybody, your old friend is back, and I'm keeping up with technology. Hello, friends, it's Gene Richard, inviting you to join me for Dialogue, a video and audio podcast presented by Kbze 105.9 FM. Look for the podcast on my Facebook page, on the KBZE YouTube page, and on the Thibodeau Now Facebook page. The audio podcast will be available on these social media apps, Podbean and TuneIn. Stay up to date with Thibodeau News on Dialogue, the podcast. We're going to change it up once a week and hopefully more as it grows in viewer and listenership.